All right, well, welcome to week 2. We'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully, you had a good week last week. I know for those of us that competed yesterday or even helped coordinate Masters of Fitness, for those of us that are local, probably definitely sore and feeling that today. Even Katie, and those who volunteered, got worked hard and it was hot yesterday. So congratulations to everyone. Yes, Lori in the background there. But we all survived. So just a side note, we'll meet next Sunday, the following Sunday, the last one. If everyone's okay with it, I'm going to be traveling that day and I don't want to try to connect somewhere on the road. So move it to Monday night. What is that? May 2nd, May 3rd, something like that. And if you can't be there, the video will still be posted. In that way, we'll still do it and it'll be there for you guys to see. But I just don't want, I was thinking about trying to do it on the road and connecting somewhere, but the chance of it not working out is more scary than just saying, hey, we're going to meet on Monday night instead. And I'll make sure I post that coming up. This week, I was going to do a drawing for a Publix gift card, but Sarah B., you're going to be the winner, and I will get you a Hy-Vee $10 gift card for your before and after pictures of your pantry and your refrigerator. Tell Tony you can replace some of that stuff that you threw away at his.
Well, he already got into the protein bars or the balls and the eggs. So
Okay.
I think I can wean him off.
All right. But awesome job for those of you that posted your pictures. Hopefully you've had a chance to kind of go through that stuff. I don't know if you saw the picture I posted yesterday, the day before. Oh, I guess Friday, because yesterday I didn't cook. I didn't realize my balsamic vinegar went bad and there was chunks in it. And I was like, well, we ate it anyway, but I did go ahead and toss that and gonna have to buy a fresh bottle. So this week I kind of want to dive into meal prep mistakes. So hopefully you guys have had a chance to go through your meal prep guide and take a look into at least week 2. But before we get there, a couple questions this week, I posted that video on the chicken and how I deconstruct it, an easy way to do it. And a couple questions about that. It's okay to keep it in the refrigerator for about 5 days after you get it from the store or even cook it at home. Ideally, you don't want to let it go too much longer after that. But definitely make sure you just keep it cold in the refrigerator, but it will last. It's not like you have to buy it and then use it up in a day or two. Excuse me. And then go ahead and start looking into week 3 recipes. For breakfast, you've got that loaded omelet, those muffins. You can kind of customize that to taste. You can cut up veggies. If you chop those up as small as you possibly can, that way you get a little bit of those in every muffin and it'll cook a little more evenly for you. Or if you kind of want to cheat and buy some pico de gallo, which is your fresh onions, tomatoes, some cilantro, some jalapeno, drain that off, drain the excess liquid off, and then throw that in. You get some veggies in there and you don't have to do all the chopping. Or you can do fresh or frozen veggies as well in those. The overnight oats, I know the Morgans have made those. I make those every week for EJ and I think the recipe it serves 6 servings. They're half cup. Put ours in a mason jar. I double up that batch because we both eat it. So then we have breakfast for 6 days. I know breakfast is taken care of. And then there's some different topping options in there. You can eat it hot. You can eat it cold. It will last 7 days in the refrigerator as long as you don't throw your toppings on right away. The morning of, I'll add peanut butter, or I'll throw in my trail mix. Apples and cinnamon's really good in it. I think there's one in there with the peanut butter chip or like some chocolate chips and peanut butter, kind of like a no-bake cookie taste to it. That recipe came from Instagram. Her name is like E-Dog, D-E, and then D-W-A-G in the kitchen. And that's where I get a lot of recipes is like Instagram, social media, super good ideas. So follow her if you want some good ideas. But I love that recipe. It's done in 10 minutes and I've got breakfast every day for a week. I don't have to think about it. Let's see. Yeah. And then another one for the kid friendly in week 3, you're going to have the egg muffin sandwiches. If you're on the go, you've got kids, a lot of times it's just easier to do that drive through on the way to school or the way to work. If you prep these ahead of time, you can do like a sheet pan for the eggs. You can do them plain. You can add like spinach and veggies to them. But it's definitely going to be healthier and cheaper to do it for you. And you can also freeze them too. Okay. And then dinners for next week is going to be ground beef or ground meat. You can do ground beef, you can do ground chicken, turkey, whatever you want. I suggest like 93% lean. So you've got 93% lean meat and 7% fat. You're going to get that fat. You get that little bit of flavor. You can go higher, like 95%, 5%. But you definitely want to try to stay away from like the 80 to 20%. Okay. Brain fart. I use a lot of ground turkey. Okay. I grew up in Iowa. Ground beef was in the freezer nonstop, which is good as long as you have that lean cut of it. Okay. Yeah, Sarah's shaking her head like, yep, know what you're talking about. But go for that lean choice. Ground turkey is great. If you add enough seasoning and flavor to it, you're not really even going to know the difference. The egg roll in the bowl is really good option. And the meatloaf muffins are super delicious. And then also with that, it calls for barbecue sauce. And there's some suggestions in there about picking a barbecue sauce, right? Most of the sauces that you're going to buy off the shelf are full of sugar, right? So make sure you look at the nutrition and the ingredients. And if, the first 3 ingredients are like normally the most that's going to be in there on the label. So if sugar is the number 1 ingredient, it's packed full of sugar and you want to skip that. But there's some different ones on there. But there's tons of options in your grocery store. Just look at them. Going to be low cal and they're going to taste good. I like Stubbs, but there's some like different ones listed on those recipes. So go ahead and give those a try. And then for the meatloaf, you can always do like a side of veggies. So roasted veggies are a good way to do it. And then also I think the taco casserole, you can just layer it. It's simple. It's good. Instead of like Taco Tuesday, go ahead and try that. And as you guys are doing any of this stuff, if you have questions, put them in the Facebook group or message me separately if you don't want to ask in the group. And then I can help you along the way, okay? Some different substitutions and suggestions, or even like if you need to double the recipe because it makes 4 and you have a family of 8, just let me know. Or if you need to cut it in half because there's only 2 of you. But a lot of these are good for multiple days in the refrigerator and you can freeze them. Did anybody make any of the chimichangas or anything last week? No.
It's on my list to make this week though. I have that ready. I have that ready to go.
Okay. Yeah. So you got your chicken. Yeah. The chimichangas are really good. I made those and they last and freeze well. And then really like this week for prepping, as long as you get your groceries on like one day and then kind of have everything planned out, like you really shouldn't have to spend more than a couple hours in the kitchen from start to finish. Browning off your meat, making the recipes. Like I said, the overnight oats takes less than 10 minutes. Once I have the recipe basically memorized and make it every week. But these are like quick, simple, easy to go recipes for that. Okay. All right. Now back to the meal prep mistakes. They're listed in your guide. I don't remember what page they're on, but I want to like kind of go through them, hit on each one, and won't spend a ton of time on each topic, but just kind of hit on them. And if you have questions, go ahead and like type them in the chat, and Katie will stop me or something. Okay. But number one, trying to keep too many recipes or trying to prep too many recipes at once, or using recipes that are way too complicated. Keep it simple, right? The recipes for this next week and the recipes for last week are super simple, like using the rotisserie chicken or using the ground beef, right? Or ground meat. That way you don't have to buy a million ingredients. For example, my mom's going to be in town sometime tomorrow. I don't know. But EJ and I decided that we're going to do like Asian lettuce wraps, which that has a lot of different ingredients in it. Normally, if I wasn't going to be off or something, I wouldn't even like try to tackle that on a weeknight when I didn't have like time to prep for it. So I would definitely avoid those types of things during the week, because it's a bunch of different like condiments that you need for it, and different veggies and chopped like scallions and mushrooms and carrots and celery and all that stuff. Like, don't do that to yourself on a busy weeknight. So keep it simple. Don't lose track of time. If you try to do too many things at once, you're just going to get frustrated. So just go ahead and try to keep it as simple as possible. Number two, grocery shopping, preparing, cooking, and portioning foods all in one day, right? Anybody do this? Lori's like, yeah, back there. Sarah went to the store. Cecilia, right? Is it a fun day? No.
Not a fun day, she says.
Out of it. Lori, only psychopaths do that, okay?
Did you see my burpees for the month?
Yeah, Lori, we have 2,000 burpees to do this month. Lori was done on like day 5. All right, okay. So Lori's the exception. But, right? You just end up dreading prep day, right? You're like, oh, I got to come up with my recipes. I got to go to the grocery store. I got to come home and chop and prep and cook. And it's not a fun day. So break it up. Like I mentioned last week, do your shopping on one day and then like prep one day. For me, I would chop up all my veggies and like brown off my ground meat that I was going to use. And then maybe the next day I'm going to go ahead and cook it off. Okay. I'm not going to try and do it all in one day. You might seem like you're spending like 3 days in the kitchen, but those are like short periods of time when you can kind of do a couple other different things. But spreading it out over a day or two will make it easier, and like it's not something that you're going to end up dreading, right? You like get to Sunday and I'm like, oh, I gotta do all this stuff. All right, so don't try to do it all at once. Number 3, not preparing the correct amount of food. Decide how many people that's going to be eating the food. For me, it kind of rotates. It's either EJ and I or EJ and I plus 2 kids. All right. So if I know going into it that it's only 2 of us or 4 of us, right, that I don't end up with not enough food or way too much food, or if I wanted the leftovers for lunch the next day, I'm not going to like run out. So make sure you know how much. And obviously kids aren't going to eat as much as adults normally, unless you have teenage kids, and then they're going to eat way more than you. Chrissy's shaking her head. Yeah, I know she's got 3 kids at home. Chris probably eats for 3 people, right, Lori? But, look at the recipes for the ones that are listed in the guidebook. They have like how many servings that they're going to be in, like the portion sizes for that. But just take a look at like who's going to be eating it, how many servings each person's going to eat of it. Do you want leftovers or not? And like I mentioned before, like the overnight oats, it serves 6. I can make just that one portion of it and portion it out for the 6, or I can double the batch. I know I've got 12, and that's going to get EJ and I through 6 meals or 6 breakfasts each. All right. So make sure you kind of pay attention to that. If you need help with scaling or increasing the recipes, just let me know. I'll be happy to help you with that. Besides CrossFit math, recipes, math, I'm good with. Like measuring for quarter cups, half cups, all that. Don't ask me to do algebra, but I can do recipes. Okay. So just shoot me a message. Let me know if you need help with any of that. Number 4, repeating the same foods and recipe, right? It's boring. EJ even said that today. He's like, I'm tired of thinking of things for lunch. Okay. And we try to like rotate that. We kind of got stuck on the turkey quinoa meatballs that we featured at the gym this month, which are delicious. But you eat them every day, every week. They get, no matter what it is, you're going to get bored of it. You're going to get tired of it. So make sure you switch it up, use a variety. It'll make it a little more exciting for you and your family. So if you have like Taco Tuesday, right, you can switch it up each week. Do ground turkey or ground beef, do some shredded pork. Just start to try to mix it up. If everyone likes the same thing every single Tuesday, cool, don't change it. But if you're kind of looking for Taco Tuesday, but yet something a little bit different, try to switch that up. Use social media, use Instagram for like recipe inspirations, right? I mentioned eDawg, so it's EDAWG in the kitchen. That's an Instagram. I know at Shark Bite we use HSN, Healthy Steps Nutrition. There's a ton of good recipes on there. Sarah, that recipe, the turkey bolognese with, you were asking about zoodles last week. That recipe is from in there. The turkey quinoa meatballs. There's like, they have it breakfast, lunch, dinner. They've got like a vegan section. They have snacks, veggies, side dishes. Like use those different resources. You can follow different ones on Instagram too. Like there's an Instapot. There's an air fryer group. Skinny Taste is a good one. And you can kind of like modify these to your taste too. But just find ways that are going to inspire you and your family. That way you don't get bored, right? If we get bored with it, we're just going to be like tired and go back to our old ways. All right, number 5, not cooling your food all the way prior to storage. That's definitely big with some of the recipes from like last week. So if you don't cool your food all the way before you put it in the refrigerator or freezer, you're going to lose moisture, or it's going to create moisture and not lose it. So what that means is if you did the chimichangas, right, the burritos, you wrap them up in foil or plastic. When they're hot, you put them in the fridge. It's just going to be like soggy and wet when you go to reheat them. Okay. Nobody likes soggy, mushy food unless it's like oatmeal. You're going to just trap all that steam in there. Or if you throw it in the freezer, right, water is going to turn into ice. Your food's going to be freezer burnt, and then you're going to thaw it out. And again, you're going to have that like soggy, mushy food. So a good way to like cool everything is if you get a cooling rack, like if you use for cookies or baking, put it on there. That way air is coming underneath it and on top of it. It's going to cool a little bit quicker. And then, it should be about an hour. You don't want to leave it out all day, right? That's not healthy or safe. Food's going to be in that temperature danger zone within 4 hours, but make sure you kind of get everything cool. And then that way you can just throw it in the fridge or the freezer, whatever you're going to do with it. And then that way, when you go to reheat it, it's going to be good and taste like it was fresh. Sorry, I'm looking at all my notes that I've got. And then going from that, we go right into number 6, not storing your foods properly, right? If a good example of this is salads. Like I'll take salads to work with me a lot, But if I go ahead and dress my salad like the night before, like I put everything in with my lettuce and then I put the dressing on top of it, the next day it's going to be mushy and the salad's going to be brown and wilty, like Katie's making that face. It's not going to be good, right? So I'll put my salad in like one container or a Ziploc bag, my toppings all thrown in together, and then my salad dressing in another one. You've seen the mason jar ones that you can do. Like, I think those work. I've never actually tried them. And then you just shake them up and then everything's good to go that way. But you don't want to just like make it all, dump the dressing on it and wait 24 or like 12 to 24 hours, right? It's probably not going to come out that right. So if you kind of store it a little bit separate and then just mix it all together at the very end, right before you eat it, it's quick, it's easy, and it's going to taste just as fresh as making it and chopping it all together. Or like that taco casserole that's in next week's recipes. If you try that, don't put all the toppings on, so if you have a family of 6, you've got the casserole dish, you're only going to eat 6 of it, 6 portions, but it makes 8. Don't put the lettuce, the tomatoes, all the extra toppings on it. Just do it per like topping or per plate. And then that way, when you go to store the extra, you got the extra, and then store the toppings in like a separate Ziploc bag. And then that way you can just dump it on top, because you go to reheat that casserole, whether you're doing it in the oven or the microwave, and you've got lettuce and tomatoes on it, it's not going to be good. All right, nobody likes that like warm, brown, mushy lettuce.
So Sarah just chimed in to say that Pampered Chef makes a mason jar that has another lid that you can keep your dressing separate in that lid, but with the same jar.
Ooh, that's a good. I have tons of Pampered Chef stuff from like 20 years ago that's still good. I still use almost every day, so I know that their products last, but that's a good one. I'll have to like look into that, right? Because then you just have it all right there together. You don't have to like, oh crap, I forgot my dressing, but I have my salad. That's a good idea. All right, where am I at? Number 7, prepping food that spoils too quickly or foods that aren't ideal for prepping. First thing that comes to mind with this one is like avocados or bananas, right? If you peel a banana and let it sit out, what's it do? It turns brown right away. Same thing with avocados. All right, if you prep too much ahead of time, they're going to turn brown and get mushy and not be that good for, not that it's not going to be that good for you. It's just not going to taste the same, right? So for like that taco casserole, slice up the avocado that you're going to use. Something also that I just seen recently, if you save the pit of the avocado, if you mash up your avocados and put the pit back in, Christy, I think you've seen this, right? Have you tried it, Christy?
Yeah, I've used it a while. I've had smashed up avocado in my fridge for, I think, since I mashed up on Monday. And it's just very lightly brown on top, but everything is still perfectly green. So it's not like that really dark,
right?
What?
You put the pit back in it?
Yeah, and I put the same pit of the same avocado in the mashed stuff. So
yeah,
it helps a lot.
So that's like a huge trick, right? Because normally we use the avocado, and if you do try to save it, it's brown. You're like, I'm not going to eat that. But yeah, save that same pit from the avocado that you used, throw it in with what you just mashed up, and according to Christy, it lasts for a while. I haven't tried it yet, but I've seen that recently, so that's definitely a good trick. And then most of us, who does not love their veggies? Anybody?
Not a big veggie kind of guy.
Morgan's not a big veggie guy. That doesn't surprise me.
I eat more veggies.
All right. So we all probably have like those picky eaters that live with us or used to live with us. Right. So you want to start with at least incorporating like 1 serving of veggies a day, Morgan. All right. Somewhere lunch or dinner, like try to get those servings in, and then, but like ideally you're going to get those veggies in for like a snack and then in with your lunch and your dinner.
I'll do that.
Okay.
1 serving. I can do that.
1 serving a day. Like that's it. but you want to start getting those in. And then let me see if I can figure this out again. Share my screen. In your guide, I think on page 23. Let's see. Oh, here. Share.
Yes, page 23.
There we go. Veggies your way. Okay. So there's some different ideas in there, like to add a side of veggies to each meal. Steamed plain veggies, you know, they can just get boring. All right. So try roasting them, sauteing them, air fryer. Lori, didn't you get an air fryer recently? Or no?
Laura?
I had it, I used it, and I think we tossed it because it just wasn't working right.
All right. Well, never mind. But air fryer is definitely a good way to cook veggies too. And if you add a little olive oil and whatever seasoning that you like, you know, toss those on your veggies. That way, if you know your kids are going to eat it because it has a certain seasoning on there. But these are some like different things to do, like roasted zucchini. Like tonight we grilled squash and zucchini on the grill. We definitely, like, the kids love broccoli, so we'll roast them off in the oven. Do sweet potato, cut those up and do those in the air fryer with a little olive oil seasoning. But there's lots of different, like, I mean, there's pictures there for ideas, okay? But make sure you start incorporating those veggies into like your lunch and dinners. You know, veggies, you know, why we want them. They're packed with nutrients and fiber, right? They're going to keep you full. So if your goal is to lose body fat, right, eat your veggies to help you stay on track, and they're going to fill you up. And then that way, like if you midday, you know, you're hungry, if you grab like some carrots, celery, a little bit of peanut butter, maybe, you're not going to want to go for a bunch of other stuff that's not going to help you reach your goals, right? And then think about just incorporating those any way you can, especially for your picky eaters and your kids. If they only like broccoli, give them broccoli every meal. It's not going to hurt them. But just try and like pick things that you know that everyone kind of likes and you can share, and you know, be like Popeye and eat your spinach, Morgan. Number 9, not having the appropriate balance of your protein, starchy carbs, veggies, and healthy fats. And I guess I can stop sharing my screen. There we go. You know, go back to that plate method that I talked about last week. If you're not tracking your macros, right? If you're not trying to like hit that specific target of your protein, fats, and carbs, use that plate method to help guide you into like what you should be having. That way, you know, you're getting the right amount of each thing, right? Or you can use the hand method that we talked about. But normally what happens, you go out to eat and you order a steak. Depending on like the portion size, you're normally getting like a 4 to 6 ounce steak, a big, huge plate of potatoes, and like 3 spears of asparagus, right? So lots of carbs. The potatoes with butter, your asparagus is probably has butter on it, plus it was cooked in olive oil, and then your steak. So you've got all the fat, all the carbs, very little veggies, and a little bit of protein, okay? So if you can use that plate method to kind of help guide you, you can do it while you go out to eat, or even when you're at home. That way, you know, you're kind of getting the right amount of each thing. But if it's something that you really want to like dial in and, you know, like it's more specific to you, like, am I eating enough protein? Am I eating enough carbs, fat, etc.? That's something that we can work with you one-on-one. You have Katie, myself, Christy, and then Layla from our Naples location. We can help you with that, like one-on-one nutrition. You just got to reach out to us, and like then we can start the nutrition program for you. But in general, just to get started, focus on that plate method so you have an idea of knowing that you're getting enough of each food group on that. And then number 10, not prepping snacks to have on hand. I know for me, if I don't have good healthy snacks on hand, I'm screwed. Because midday, or even like if I'm at the gym and I'm coaching, or even when I'm at work, I have my breakfast and I'm just like, I'm hungry before I have lunch. And after lunch, before dinner, I'm definitely like hungry. So if I don't have like that healthy snack ready to go for me, I'm definitely going to derail and go for something that's not healthy. So and on page 24 in the book, go back to that here. Nope, wrong thing. Here we go, share. All right, there is some different snack ideas in there. For me, I love dips, like anything like chips and dip, fruits, veggies and dip. So a good vegetable dip, if you use like plain non-fat Greek yogurt mixed with some French onion seasoning, right? So you have your French onion dip, but it's way healthier and less in fat. You can use that with your veggies or some nuts. And then anyone ever try the PB2 powder? It's like peanut butter powder. You add that with a little bit of water. Yeah, I see some head nods. If you do that with some non-fat Greek yogurt, mix that with the PB2 powder and like stevia and throw some like dark chocolate chips in there and use that with fresh fruits or nuts. Super good, healthier version of like a dip. But there's some different ideas in there, to get your protein, some carbs, some starches, a little bit of fat, if you do celery and peanut butter in there. So make sure you take a look at that to get your snacks in there. All right. I know. Let's see. Stop share. There we go. Anybody have any questions so far? I feel like I'm talking like 100 miles a minute. No, everyone good? Okay, so
On the snacks, it says quality protein bars. What do you define a quality protein bar?
So RX bars are like a good one because there's only like 5 ingredients in those. And it's something that it's readily available, right? You don't have to cook them. So like having the good quality ones on hand are good. RX bars, certain Cliff bars. I think Katie, we were talking about like the Build bars.
Yeah, I like the builder bars. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cliff Builder bars. So those, you just want to make sure when you look at the label and the ingredients, it's not like full of sugar and a bunch of ingredients that we don't need, right? So like that's why like the RX bars are good. The Builder ones are like high in protein, low in fat, low in carbs. But just make sure you double check those ingredients before you're like, oh, it says it's a protein bar, so it's healthy. Because a lot of them are not.
I think one of the biggest problems with protein bars is sometimes how much fat is in them, right? Like sometimes the fat can be just as much, if not more than the amount of protein in it. So when you're looking at them, just to make sure that the protein is higher than the fat, that would constitute, in my opinion, a good quality one. But yeah, less ingredients, the better.
Yeah.
If anybody's got a good recipe for them.
What about Lara bars?
What about Lara bars?
Oh, I haven't had one of those in a while. The LARA. Do you know anything about those, Katie?
I think they're good and they are healthy, but I'm not sure I would consider them a protein bar.
It's like a good snack, but not necessarily.
Yeah, they're not super high in protein, but they would be a good snack choice for sure.
Okay. Yeah, and then I shared who asked? Nicole asked the other day about a good like protein ball recipe. So I shared that in like her thread in the members page. I know Chris eats them, EJ and I eat them all the time. And you can also make like a vegan version of it because it has honey, and instead of honey, you can do agave. What else did we have to switch in that, Katie? I don't remember. Peanut butter, agave.
I think it was just the agave, right?
I'm drawing a blank. I think so. But there's like flax seeds, or like ground flaxseed in there, chia seeds, unsweetened coconut. Yeah. So like, and if anyone has any good recipes, feel free to share those in the members page so we can all kind of see them and share and get new and different ideas, because I'm always looking for ideas.
So Nicole says they were really good, but she thinks that they were a little bit high in fat.
Yeah, they are a little bit higher in fat, but they are super delicious. But yeah, so I definitely try like new ones often, but kind of end up going back to those all the time. I think it's like the peanut butter in there kind of like increases that fat. Cool. Any other questions right now? Nope. Okay. So one thing that I want to kind of dive into before we part ways is like 5 other like mistakes to avoid, right? We kind of went through like prepping mistakes, but like 5 different other things that to avoid. And number 1 is like not counting like sneaky foods, like the little bites, the taste of things that like kind of add up through the day, right? So if you're cooking and you're like, oh, I'm going to try that, make sure it tastes good. Or you're licking the spoon off of like the cookie batter, different stuff like that. Just remember everything that we put in to our bodies adds up throughout the course of the day. And one thing is like oils, right? So if you use your olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, whatever you're using to cook with, on Food Network, you just see them like pouring it in like that really heavy hand, right? Of like just dumping and cooking, because they don't care what the nutrients are in that, right? They're just trying to make it look good and taste good. But when we eat it, just know that like that adds up really quickly. And then what are you drinking throughout the day? If you're starting your day out with coffee, what are you putting in your coffee? Are you putting cream in it? Are you putting sugar in it? Yeah, Sarah's shaking her head like, are you going to Starbucks or Dunkin' and getting, I don't even know what they're called, frappuccinos and like the heavy cream and the whipped cream topping? Like coffee can end up being like 500 plus calories in just one drink. Fruit juices, right? Tons of sugar in that. Even though it's fruit, those carbs sneak up on you in that sugar content. And if you drink sodas, obviously those are packed full of carbs and not good things for you. That's a whole nother topic. But just kind of remember to be mindful of those things. Just remember like 1 tablespoon is about 120 calories of like when you use your cooking oil, right? So like olive oil, or like your peanut butters too, right? If you actually measure out a serving of peanut butter and use your tablespoons or weigh it, you're gonna realize like, oh crap, I've been eating 4 servings of peanut butter every day instead of like 1 serving that I thought I was eating. So, if you're guilty, like I know I still am on occasion, I'll just grab a spoon, stick it in the peanut butter jar, lick it off, and I'm happy and I go on my day. But if you're like me, try to measure it out. Grab a tablespoon, because normally peanut butter is 2 tablespoons per serving, right? Measure that out and kind of visualize it, so that way when you're like sneaking that peanut butter in the late night snack, that how much you're actually eating. But different things like that like sneak up on us and we don't realize it. Salad dressings is another good one, right? Especially if you like a lot of dressing on your salads like I do. Those are definitely like high in fat normally, and we don't realize it. So make sure you kind of look at that when you go to use your salad dressings or any sauces really. But I know for me, if I don't like measure out with my tablespoon of dressing, then I end up with like 3 or 4 servings of salad dressing when I only really need 1. Some different ones you can find in your produce section. I think, Sarah, you're the only one not here, but I'm sure like Hy-Vee back home has it. Like in your produce section, they have the refrigerated salad dressings. normally with like where the bag salad, pre-made salads are at. Bolt House Farms is a good one. Katie, I'm going to need your help if you have like vegan ideas. But those are made with like Greek yogurt. So they're like half the fat that you're going to find than what you would. So I think if they're Hidden Valley Ranch, right, is 140 calories, but Bolt House Farms, like their ranch style dressing is 45 calories. So that's like 95 calorie difference, right? So that's huge just for a serving of salad dressing. Normally, like in your organic section, maybe you can find different ones too. Like Primal Kitchen is a good one that's way less in calories. But if you're, again, not measuring what you're putting on your salad for dressing or sauces, and then you're using like super high in fat and you just don't realize it. So those are good. Any good vegan ones, Katie?
In the produce section where they have like all the vegan foods in that little corner, there's a brand called Annie's there, and it's those are pretty healthy ones. But again, when they're refrigerated, they're so super thick that it's super easy to put like 3 or 4 tablespoons on a salad, right? So yeah, using the tablespoon is really helpful.
Yeah, I definitely always like measure that. I'm not super specific and like use my scale for stuff like that, but definitely, you know, using like my measuring cups and spoons for certain items like that definitely is like a big eye opener, especially if it's something that you haven't ever done, just to kind of give you that idea and like a place to start. You know, like you love a ton of dressing, maybe you cut it back in half and see like, okay, I'm at 2 servings instead of 4. All right. And then number 2, eating all of your kids' leftovers, right? For those of you that have kids at home, right, you feel guilty, you can't throw that food away or whatever. That's something that definitely adds up really quickly and you don't realize it. So there's a little bit on each kid's plate and then you're going to finish it because you don't want to throw it out. Think about that before you do it. Okay. It's going to add up over time. You are not the garbage disposal. Okay. Either make your kids eat all their food or save it like, Mom, I'm hungry, before they want their bedtime snack. Like, okay, here you go. Here's leftover food from dinner, or, you know, save it for their lunch or meal the next day, or be okay with tossing it. I get it. EJ is super strict with the kids and makes them eat their plate. But sometimes they can't eat it. So don't feel like you necessarily need to finish your kids' foods, okay? Because that definitely is going to add up. Number 3, not eating enough throughout the day and then end up binge eating when you get home from work, from the gym, or right before bed, right? You're busy throughout the day, you haven't ate, and then you're just going to go on that big binge, okay? Try to avoid that. Don't starve yourself and then get home and like clean out the refrigerator and eat it all. So like go back to that snack list, make sure you have those on hand throughout the day. I just know I have to eat. I get hangry. Definitely. I know that about myself. So if I'm starving, it's not ever a good thing, but make sure you've got those snacks. Don't forget to eat. You know, I know we all have like things that are going to derail us throughout our day, but like your health and definitely your nutrition, it all kind of correlates to like your mindset. So make sure that you don't skip those meals. And weekends, right? I was good Monday through Friday. It's 5:00 on Friday afternoon. It's the weekend, and say screw it and completely blow it, right? It's okay to, have a cheat meal here or a snack or something, even if it's throughout the week. But if you work so hard Monday through Friday and keep yourself at like say 2,000 calories, right? And then Morgan's like, I eat like 5,000 calories every day.
Usually.
And he has abs.
I don't know. But Friday night comes and you order, and the kids know it's pizza Friday night, but EJ and I might go for a little bit healthier version, or we eat the pizza with the kids, but the rest of the weekends we're on the healthier side. So having those not so healthy meals is okay, but going Friday night, Saturday, you eat the cinnamon roll and the eggs and the bacon, and then you eat junk for lunch and have beer and alcohol and burgers for dinner, and then it's same thing on Sunday, and like maybe Sunday night you're like, oh, it's Sunday night, I gotta start. Like, try not to do those huge benders. All right, I know sometimes it's hard. My mom's coming here for a week, help me. Love her, but it's just like, this is my lifestyle. I get it, like we'll go out to eat a little bit throughout the week, but not completely derail and go on those huge benders. Anybody else have any suggestions on trying to avoid the binge eating?
I think it's important that if like you have something that you like, to have it regularly, so that way you don't feel like you have to binge on it. If you like chocolate, like have a little bit every night, right? So that way you don't feel like deprived. I love chocolate. I have a little bit every night. I have a lot of shot glasses from when I used to drink, and that's my little portion size. I fill it up with chocolate chips, and then I get my chocolate every night, right? And then I don't feel deprived. So I don't feel like I need to binge on it. So if there's something that you like, make sure you're including it.
I do the same thing. Layla has me putting my chocolate, because I have to have chocolate after dinner every night. It's just a thing. It makes me just happy before I go to bed. I might as well. I work hard during the day. And Layla has me putting it in just little plastic bags. So I take some good chocolate, take 2 squares, put it in a plastic bag, have my plastic bags ready for the week. Hardest part is keeping my husband's fingers out of those. So I have him have his separate chocolate. I try to keep my fingers out of that. But that's what I do. That was my one thing when I started working on this with Layla. I said, I just can't give up my nighttime chocolate. And she said, you shouldn't have to. If it makes you happy, it's okay. Now I just buy more expensive chocolate.
There you go. Right? That is huge. Like, eating the things that you want and like being flexible, but like mindful of what your goals are, right? So I know, Sarah, we talked about this when you came down to visit. She was like, I know you're going to tell me I can't drink and I can't do this and I can't do that. I'm like, no, I'm not. But you just have to kind of focus on what your goals are, right? And then again, do the little things where you're not depriving yourself, because what happens, like, if like, I can't have it, that's all you're going to think about. That's all you're going to want. And then you're going to say, screw it, and go down a dark rabbit hole that nobody wants to go down, right? And it's so hard to come back from. We want you to be happy, right? We all want to be happy, and like having those little bit of things like a chocolate or whatever it is for you, don't deprive yourself of that. No, that's really good. Number 4, going cold turkey, right? Same like line of topic, right? And cutting everything out at once. There's some people that are definitely like all or nothing, right? If I'm going to do this, I'm all in and I have to cut out everything. Or even workouts, right? Oh, I only have 30 minutes for today, so I might as well not even work out at all, right? So, doing something is better than nothing, whether it's working out a little bit or cutting something out of your diet, right? A little bit in small amounts is going to help you get dialed into your health and nutrition, and then you can kind of like move on into something else, right? So if I'm going to cut, you hear a lot of different things, different like fad diets. We're going to get into that in the next week or so. Like, I'm going to cut carbs completely out of my diet, and I'm starting today, right? Katie's like, yeah. Like, ask yourself, is that something that you can do that's going to last a lifetime? Most of us can't live without carbs, right? I don't want to live without carbs. But like, is it something that you can do that's going to last a lifetime? And the answer is no, then don't do it. Okay. Going cold turkey all at once, is just kind of like you have to stay motivated to do that. And right, we all have our ebbs and flows, and there's days that we're like super highly motivated, and there's days that we're not at all. Right. So like, what's going to happen on those days that you're not motivated? So find something that you can do on a day-to-day basis that's going to help you progress into your future, into your goals. Like for me, I know I've got the overnight oats in the refrigerator. I've got my breakfast. So that's going to help me start out each and every day on the right foot, and I'm good to go. And then I've got, choices throughout the day, right? But if I know I kind of start out on the right foot, then I'm going to be good. Prep your lunches. If we kind of go into like those habits, stacking our habits, right? So like, I know, like, I always have my Yeti with me at the gym, at this fire station, at home. Like, I can drink so many of those a day. Like, so if I start out, my goal is to drink 2 of them a day. Awesome. Once you start kind of hitting 2 a day, add in like 3 a day, just kind of start stacking on those. Morgan, getting in your veggies, right? So you eat a handful of carrots at lunch or for your snack, cool. Lori will sneak some veggies into your dinner somehow. And then you've got 2 a day. But you'll be so much better down the road as you start adding in the little things instead of focusing on the things that you can't have, right? I can talk crap about her. She'll be here. But like my mom's like, I told DJ, I'm like, I don't even know if she's still doing the keto thing, but throwing a stick of butter in your coffee is not good for you. Right? I think it's a keto thing. I don't know, but it's just adding a ton of fat into one drink, and I just don't get it. But it's like, oh, it's good for you. It's gonna get your into ketosis and all that. I'm like, but then she deprives herself of so many other things, and then I watch her and she'll binge and like go crazy and like have chips or chocolate or something. I'm like, well, there's your carbs, Mom. But think about those little things, and if you just kind of like start on those good healthy habits and like build and build and build, you're going to be much better off in the future. Almost there. Sorry, I have lots of notes for tonight. Number 5, falling into the gimmick trap. Again, this is where I started going down that hole with my mom and the different fad diets, right? There's so many things out there, right? They want to take your money. They want to promise you everything. You're going to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. And that might be true, but then what? What happens after the 30th day? And you're probably not going to lose that weight in a very healthy way either. But we've all seen them. We probably all have tried something, in one way or the other. And normally if it's too good to be true, guess what? It's too good to be true. Okay. Nothing that is healthy and sustainable will work quickly. And you just have to remember that. I know it can be frustrating. I mean, even for me, like this month, I feel like I've ate pretty healthy, and I've done like over 1,500 burpees, and I've gained 5 pounds. I'm like, there you go, whatever. Like, how is that possible? But, it's just our bodies go through different phases, and then, you just have to make sure you stay on that healthy mindset and know that nothing is going to be a quick fix, right? I think all of us on here are old enough to have figured that part out by now. So just, start going down those healthy steps that you can build on, and that they're going to last a lifetime, right? That's like the number one thing that I think we preach at with our nutrition program, right? We don't tell you can't have anything, and we're not going to tell you that this one thing is specifically going to work and you have to do this and you have to do that. Like, right? It's just get your water in. We work with you individually to find out like what's going to work for you. But once you start going into like, you can't have this, you can't have that, like I said, you're just going to focus on those things, and it's never going to work. But yeah, anything like quick results that you see out there definitely should be a red flag for you. And supplements, don't know a ton about supplements. Coach V isn't on here. She works for a company that like she kind of does all the labeling and nutrition information for them. Just make sure that if you're taking anything that it's regulated by the FDA. So many things out there aren't, so they haven't done the trial phases that they necessarily should or need to do. And make sure, you kind of know what you're putting in your bodies. Other than that, I'm not like too knowledgeable on those topics, but just make sure what you're taking is regulated, so you're getting like the nutrients that you need out of what the label says you're getting, whatever you're taking. And the number one thing is diet, exercise, and a healthy lifestyle will get you the results you want, right? We all want to be healthy, live a long, healthy life, be able to move, function. Nick's not on here, I don't think, is he? Yeah, his workout yesterday was like, what was it? Can't get off the toilet, whatever. Yeah, definitely by midday, I'm like, I went to sit down and EJ just started laughing from the other room because he could hear me like groaning because I couldn't even sit down on the toilet because my legs are so sore. But right, as we age, those things start to like catch up to us. And if we do stupid things like competitions that are fun, but kind of beat ourselves up, right? Like as long as I'm healthy and I'm repairing my body today and getting the nutrients that I need, like I'll be okay in a couple days. I'm still gonna like not like him for a couple days, but just make sure you're going down the right paths. And if you have questions, reach out to myself, to Katie, the group. Use each other for recipe ideas, any tips, tricks, anything like that. Okay, I feel like I talked. Yeah, I did. I talked a long time. Any questions for the night? Crickets? Okay. Crystal's talked enough. It's bedtime. Okay, next week we'll go dive into those fad diets a little bit. Everyone have a great week. Let me know if you got any questions or need help.